Hey Geetha, I hope all of you had a good lunch and we're excited. We're in the second of New Zealand Business Apps Summit 2022, and we have Geetha Chockalingam joining all the way from Singapore with us today. And Geetha is going to walk us through on the deep dive into Power Platform CoE. And Geetha, you want to introduce yourself and start the session?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jiva, for the introduction. Hey, everyone. Hope you had a sound lunch and hope this session, you will enjoy the session. I'm Geetha Chockalingam and I'm working as an enterprise architect at Avnat. I'm based out of Singapore. That's a quick introduction about me. Let me quickly share my screen and do some checks. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Geetha.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, today we are going to talk about the Power Platform CoE and the Power Platform CoE toolkit. Let's deep dive into that and we'll have a kind of a discussion because you would have heard many things about Power Platform and few things about Power Platform CoE because in the recent times it's happening throughout all the enterprises that they have figured out the need of having a center of excellence for Power Platform. So I'm here today, Geetha Chockalingam, Enterprise Architect at Avnat, going to take you through this session for deep diving to Power Platform CoE and also to know about the CoE toolkit that is being offered from Microsoft. Happy to connect with you all. I have my LinkedIn link over here. Please feel free to connect. So today, this is the agenda for us. What is CoE, components of CoE, responsibilities of CoE, what is CoE toolkit and what's in the toolkit, and deep dive into the toolkit components for us to understand what it does and how we can extend to satisfy our need or to leverage it and then build our own processes using this toolkit. And finally, let me try to give you a demo if time permits and the limitations with it as well. So when we talk about the Center of Excellence, it's not just technology, but it involves people, processes, and technology that forms the CoE. Like any other CoE in technology terms that we have, Power Platform CoE is also made of people, processes, and technology. So as a big enterprise, we would have the low-code, no-code platform being adopted by many users, many business users, and many technical users as well. So this CoE is a place, is a central place where we nurture and and encourage that organic growth within the organization while putting guardrails around it so that we guard it and encourage the users to evolve and utilize things. So this CoE is designed to drive innovation and improvement to break down silos. But otherwise, if you know, in earlier days, we used to prepare reports for our own need. And, for every department, we will not even know if somebody else has already prepared it or so. And we might have Excel sheets prepared for, with so many macros and people will be using it in silos. But with Power Platform coming into play, this low-code, no-code platform has enabled us to create apps in few minutes that can be shared across the organization so that it can be reused and not really just used once and left often later on. So this center of excellence will help us enable all that, enabling the people so that like we can nurture the people, we can bring knowledge, we can develop that skill set within our own enterprise. At the same time, we can establish the processes. Like people will not be going from end to end and creating applications and leaving them often. Instead, we can keep track of what apps are in place and whether that is being actively used within your organization. If not used, what's the next action that we might need to take? All that you can take care of using the technology that you put in place for it. So all that administrative track you can do with the technology or the toolkit that you can start with. Using this toolkit, you can establish that in the first place. The technology component, when we say, as you would have figured out, yes, it all refers to the toolkit in the first place, but yet you can develop your own apps and you can extend this toolkit to establish your processes, and you can extend this toolkit to add your nurture components on how you want to educate your set of front-end developers, or be it your business users who does this low-code, no-code development on these processes, on these standards, how you wanted them to be um, with it. So instead of you can put so many processes in place, but it doesn't mean everybody is going to follow it. Instead, if you actually nurture them, if you give them that knowledge of what are the standards that needs to be followed from the first place, then it becomes part of the process that everybody starts following it while they begin their journey with Power Platform. So that's the beauty of this toolkit. So it gives you this technology component in every place of the responsibility of Center of Excellence. So as we talk about the responsibilities, it's essential for us to know what are the responsibilities of Center of Excellence. But before I deep dive into responsibilities of Center of Excellence, I pause here for a minute just to know if there are any questions. Hope I understand there are no questions, so I proceed with this. Responsibilities of a Center of Excellence comes with 4 pillars. Like, one is we have to admin and do the governance. So for a large enterprise, like Fortune 400 companies or big technology companies even, they would have so many users adopting this low-code, no-code platform, trying to do so many things, innovate with this platform. So when that comes into play, we need an admin group who would do the governance of what apps are being created, of what reports are being generated, and how actively that's being used, and whether it's being owned by a person or no. All that admin and governance, and whether they are connecting to the right data to which they secure access, and are they the right people to get access to those data. All that admin and governance will have to be done by the Center of Excellence. The next pillar is the nurture. Like, the next big responsibility of a Center of Excellence is nurture. This is all about training, evangelism. Like, you are planning to onboard so many business users, say, as part of your journey. You have built your CoE journey, and in your roadmap, you target certain set of business users to adopt this low-code, no-code platform. So once you have this in place, the next thing is you nurture those people who will be onboarded into this low-code, no-code platform. So this nurturing comes the next critical portion of your Center of Excellence success. This nurture will involve all the tools and components that you will enable for these users, the technical guidance, training, evangelism. So when we talk about all this, it might be your internal community groups or internal collaboration teams that you would want to create, and the medium in which you discuss about your problems and get the resolutions. So ideally, you might have to identify your champions within the group, and they will be like taking the newbies across the journey, and they will be able to give the technical guidance, and any roadblockers they would be able to resolve it then and there. Instead of just the Center of Excellence getting into play every time, your internal community will be able to nurture and bring along the people as the company evolves and as the company adopts this low-code, no-code platform. Next comes the support. So this is the help desk awareness support process. So you might want to have set up a help desk with your internal community for this support. Your community would be the first place to get this support. That's one way of getting it done. The other thing is, like, you want to identify certain people within your Center of Excellence to enable this support. You can have dedicated roles. It all depends on the maturity of the organization in which this is being adopted. So we have different like recently I've seen different kind of experience and different maturity of the organizations adopting this low code no code platform. And the journey, the COE journey, they might be in different stages of COE journey. Some people would have adopted it very recently, so there's nothing in place. It's a pure clean slate, so you can establish a very strong processes, and then you can start your journey, in which case you will be having your guardrails in place and everything set in play for you to start the play very clean and neat. In certain places, like people would have adopted, they would have bought the license and everything would be dispersed, and you would want to bring everything into a central place and you would want to admin and govern. In such stage of your journey, you might want to do the inventory first, and then you would want to do the cleanups, and you want to establish your processes, and you should be coming up with a strategy and your roadmap then from then on. So in certain places, like everything, they would have started with a COE, but with a very limited responsibility, and you would want to mature your COE with some technical help with the other teams and all that. In which case, you would be having your team, a very robust team, internal community already doing the low code, no code development, and you would want to evolve it to enhance your business and to get much more business outcomes of it. Like you would have finalized your strategy and you now want to make it even more robust. So you develop more apps with this low code, no code, and you might want to identify your use cases and develop those apps and identify the pain points in many other places, and you would want to realize all those benefits. So that's the different stages in your COE journey wherein you could adopt, wherein you would plan to involve a center of excellence or develop your center of excellence. In such cases, the different responsibilities and the depth of the work involved with these responsibilities and with this center of excellence will differ. That's what I've seen in the recent times. So last comes the operations, which is a responsibility, which is another responsibility of center of excellence. Basically, as soon as you have certain team adopting this and they have already started development of low code, no code apps and reports and some chatbots, then it becomes your then the next thing that you would want to have in place or you would want to track as it starts is that application lifecycle management. And I know you're going to hear about this application lifecycle management in deep in few hours from now, so I'm not touching that too much. Application lifecycle management is another place wherein you would want to have some clear processes in place so that you are very clear on what environments are being used and where people are deploying and what applications goes to production and when and how much it is tested. So you have this operations in place, then your center of excellence is all good and ready for you to go and rock the show. So with all the responsibilities of center of excellence being explained, any questions until now? Yeah, I move on to the next major thing. This is the beautiful thing that's been provided by Microsoft now. And this CoE starter kit has been there for quite a long, and it's been evolving because Microsoft is also putting its effort to add many new apps and flows and reports to make our life easy. So every enterprise that adopts it at whatever stage it might be, the CoE starter kit helps at any given point in time. So this CoE starter kit is a bundle of the tools and components that helps you get started with developing a strategy for adopting and supporting your Microsoft Power Platform and your community, internal community, with a focus of this low-code, no-code platform. So what's in this CoE toolkit? We have already seen that it's a bundle of tools and components, right? So we have some three basic building blocks in this toolkit. One is the core component, the next comes the governance component, and the third comes the nurture components. As the name suggests, the core components is the basic of it. Like you have to make an inventory, you have to do the cleanup, all that helps. All that helps when you have these core components. When you have these core components being deployed, then you will be able to do all this without any, without any much work or effort. You would be able to kickstart with all this. The next comes the governance components. Governance components is basically to establish your governance, or you might have your processes in place. How will you make that come into effect? So you would want to have these governance components in place, so you get your notifications when something is not in place, and certain processes that anyone has to follow when they have an idea and they are developing that idea. They would have to secure some permissions from you and get a clear idea of where to develop and what to do uh, when they plan to do it. So it's a governance processes. For you to establish governance processes within your enterprise, you can use these governance components. Nurture components is the third one. As the name suggests, this is basically for nurturing your makers and your internal Power Platform community. There are standalone apps as well, standalone add-ons that comes with this toolkits. There are three standalone add-ons that are provided within the toolkit. One is the theming component. Basically, as we say, we had to establish a process and we had to enable some standardization. You might have to have some themes, right? Like any business user who starts to plan to do who starts to do things with low-code, no-code platform, there should be a theme, like enterprise theme that's being followed across. So these theming components will help them adopt a template which has been established and then develop their apps using that. Basically, it helps you to do the company branding. Next comes the ALM components. So this basically, as the name suggests, this helps with the makers. It guides them on creating a healthy practice around their ALM for their solutions, whatever they would have developed. Innovation backlog components is the other add-on wherein you would want to have a track of whatever ideas that comes up in the business user group that's been logged, and that's been given a thought, and that's been taken through the board. Usually when it's a large enterprise, you could have a authority board, which will go through all of your ideas, the business realization, the pain points, and what's the value add that it brings. It does analysis of all of this, and then it prioritizes the ideas that has to be taken priority, and which has to be given priority and has to be created as soon as possible. That roadmap is being built, and accordingly that will be created and being rolled off to the users, the required users. So this innovation backlog components is the place wherein the business users can go in and record their ideas. This is basically another Power App, but that's been already built, which we can readily deploy and provide access to all your internal community users and business users. So these are the major two components which form the CoE toolkit. Next comes a quick cheat sheet. Thanks to Nicholas. I have referred to his cheat sheet here. He has given a very good one-page view of all the components in detail of what components it all has. As I already said, it is a combination of all Power Automate flow and the connectors that are required and the Power Apps and the reports that are being enabled. That's being bundled together and being provided to us as part of this toolkit. Next comes, let's do a deep dive now into each of the components for us to understand the benefit of it. So there are core components which comes as part of the administration. So these core components can be, first we start with the inventory components of the core components. So as soon as we talk about the inventory components, we talk about the tables wherein which is being deployed into your database. And then into these tables, you will have Power Automate flows, which will go scan your environments, all your Power Platform environments, and then take an inventory of all of this information, your environment, the list of makers, audit logs, the Power App, the flows that you have in place, all of the details, whatever you see in this place. It takes an inventory of all of this, and then it just accommodates this, and then you have a medium in which you would be able to see all of this inventory as a report, and so on and so forth. So basically, we have three different security roles that will be enabled. Just before even I deep dive into these, I just want to give you one basic information that if at all you plan to install the CoE toolkit into your enterprise, you would need a service admin role for you to install this toolkit, or you would have to be a global admin for you to install these toolkits, because of the reason that whatever the service account that you use or the account that you use to install the toolkit will be used by all of these flows. You can set a different access credential to be used by these flows and by these reports. What's a service credential that needs to be used? That needs to have admin privilege, so that it would be able to scan across the environments, and it would be able to gather all these details. The core components, inventory components, will use three security roles, like will be accommodating three security roles. One is the admin security role, which will give full access to all of your tables, and the maker security role will give read and write access to these tables, environments, apps, and so on and so forth. To the user security role, it will give read-only access to any user who would be using this application, or who would be using these reports, or Power Virtual Agent, or whatever component it could be. So as I already said, we have the tables wherein we collect all the inventory. So we would need something to, some component to gather the information and get that detail recorded into the tables, right? So we have some predefined flows that comes as part of the CoE toolkit. So as you deploy this toolkit, you would be able to see that as you deploy this, it will be asking you to establish a lot of connectors, which will in turn do this job for you. So as you establish these connectors, you would be able to provide the credential that it had to use, and these flows will be enabled from then on for it to be and it will be triggered as per the interval that's being provided here. So I would want to club these flows and explain. Basically, all the admin flows, all the sync flows will help you sync the inventory, will help you take the inventory and sync it back to the tables that it has created in the first place. So these are all the sync flows that would sync all of your flows, apps, and whatnot, whatever the tables that it had. All of those components would be gathered and it would be recorded into the tables. And finally, we have some cleanup flows as well. These cleanup flows, you have some child flows and you have some parent flows. Why it's important for us to understand all of these components is, if at all you would want to extend this, it would be useful that you understand this information and you can add over and top of these provided flows and apps and tables for you to go ahead and create reports and not. So your cleaner child flows will actually mark the items, whatever is not active and not being actively used, whichever is not, is just used once. It just goes ahead and analyze all that pattern, and then it marks all the flows and the apps and the reports for deletion. And your cleanup parent flows will go ahead and clean those up. So these are all long-running jobs which does this job. So you might find this not to be triggered very often. It might be triggered weekly or 2 weeks once or so. Any questions until here? Please give me a moment. So yeah, we have seen all the cleanup flows now, and finally comes the helper flows. These are the helper flows wherein where anyone joins in the group as a newbie. Then you might want to send an email for welcoming them, and also if you want to send an email to the admins, all those helper flows will help you with that. So now this is a command center that you have, like as you see in the screen, this is the command center wherein you would be able to see all of the basic apps that comes in play with this. So this app is the place wherein you can go and launch your CoE Starter Kit apps and other bookmarks. So this is one place for you to see all of the apps that's been apps or reports that's been enabled from your CoE toolkit. So you can go ahead and check the health of the flows, and you can update the environment variables because there are a lot of environment variables that are used by the starter kit. And if basically those environment variables could have your, some of the variable or some of the credentials in some places, and your team collaboration site links and all that. So if at all you have any changes to it, you can go ahead and update those environment variables using these apps. And you can view your Microsoft 365 message center news related to Microsoft Power Platform using this one of this app over here. Sorry. You can also download the latest CoE Starter Kit version and raise support tickets with the team. And the CoE dashboard would give you that summary of who is active and what are the apps that's being used. You would be able to see a summary of it. I have a screen with which I can explain further as well. Let us move on to the DLP editor. The next comes one of the app in the core components, as you would have seen. It's a DLP editor, which is nothing but data loss prevention policies that has been in place for quite long. And this app will help you edit some of your data loss prevention policies that you would have set. So basically, this helps you, restrict the connectors that you would want to enable the business users to use within each environment. So you may not want the business users to connect to production environments from their dev. So you would want to, disable certain social connectors in certain environments due to, sometimes it becomes a public controversy if some information is being let out unnecessarily from your enterprise. So this helps you set all your data loss prevention policy by restricting your connectors. The next comes the Set App Permissions app. And using this app, what you could do is you could discover app by app name, like it would give you the name and then the environment, and you could change the app permissions from this place. Next comes the set flow permission app. This is the same, like instead of an app, you would want to set permissions for your flow. You would be able to do that from within this app. Next comes the Power Platform Admin View app. Within this view, you would be able to see, as you're able to see here, you would be able to see all the active makers, what are all the active environments that is being used, and each maker, how many apps do they own, and that will help you determine the champion within your internal community. And you would also be able to identify the people who can be part of your center of excellence with this dashboard, from this dashboard. One way you could do that, it could help you in that. The other way is if you would want to encourage your internal community to do more, you would be able to use this information, and then you could award some people and encourage and provide them to do new jobs, and they would be happy if at all they would want to use this skill set and move to a different role wherein they would be able to do a new job by itself. So this makes you nurture your community, and also this helps you in all that way. Next comes the CoE dashboard view. In this CoE dashboard view, this is the first page of it. It provides all the areas in their purpose, like team's environment, and you would have all the Power Apps, the overview of that. So all the monitoring components you would be able to see in the first tab. The next set is the govern, all your risk assessment, app archive. What are the apps that has been archived, which because of maybe it has been orphaned because of there's no owner, active owner. Maybe the person who created left the job and left the company, and that has become orphan. In which case we had to identify if anybody else is able to take that ownership. If not, we have to archive it. Otherwise, it'll be unused, and that will be taking up your space, right? So you could also do the license management, and you could do the archival of all of this. You would be able to see all of that information in the common. And nurture is basically for you to have a detail of your maker, app gurus, flow gurus, and all that. So this is a detailed view of that. That was the first page, and these are the other screens inside the dashboard as well. So overview of the Power Apps, if you click on that, you would be able to see the screen wherein it would give you the total summary of it, and also some details around the environment and makers. And if at all your enterprise is like global, then you would be able to see in which region it's been actively used, and if at all you would want to take help from that region to nurture the new region, then it would be easier for you to do that way as well. The Power Automate overview also gives you a similar picture, but in terms of Power Automate usage and who are the top flow makers. This is the another view of the dashboard wherein you would be able to see all the environments. So you would be able to see against your time how many environments has been created. This view you would be able to create depending on the maturity of the organization and the adoption of Power Platform. If you see a very empty or a clean slate over here, which means that it's not being adopted well, and there's something that you had to do with the nurturing side of it. Dashboard. This part of the dashboard, apps dashboard, gives you detail into your Power Apps. What are the Power Apps, and what are the different types of Power Apps, and in what trend it's been created, and also makers. You would be able to do the slicing and dicing of the environment management against the different, like you could have dev, UAT, production for all of your low code, no code apps. So you would be able to see all of that from this view. This is again for the flows similar to apps. This is for the custom connectors. It is essential for us to have a view of the connectors for you to establish your data loss prevention policies. So this dashboard view will help any admin to have a detailed view of the connectors that are being used, and what are the connectors that are being used in apps, and what are the connectors that are being used in flows. Like, yeah, you see a lot of RSS feeds that are being used in flows, which means that there are a lot of information that are being published in RSS feeds. So it's good in a way for you to have a view, and it also gives you some idea on how to establish your governance processes. So the first place, if at all an organization is adopting this low-code, no-code platform and it's in the journey, then they would be establishing this CoE toolkit. They would be installing this, gathering all the information. That's the first step that they would be doing it before even having that innovation backlog and planning the roadmap for the application development. As a center of excellence kickstarts, they would be interested to collate all the information, take the necessary actions before they grow and evolve. That's very much essential. So that's the first baby step that we suggest, and that's being followed by the enterprise. So this is another dashboard view when you would be able to see the connections, and if you click on a deep dive into any of the connection, then you would be able to see the details of that connection and the apps that are being used that actually uses that connector and all that view. So this is the app licenses. So this gives you the view of app licenses. And this will give you the view of the app maker. Basically, this helps you identify the champions, so that in your nurture, responsibility, you would be able to award the people who are good at it and whom you can identify as the ambassador within your company for them to help the newbies and take them forward. Core components, environment requirement management components is the next set of components, which helps us to, establish certain processes. Like you can't have all of the, environments to be created by users as they think and so on and so forth. So you would want to have a stage gate wherein they would want to come and request for an environment, and then you can enable that environment creation. Either you can automate it, like you can have some PowerShell scripts as soon as that is being automatically approved by, if you have rules deployed, then you can have PowerShell scripts to automatically create this environment, which could be part of your ALM, or you could have this being manually created. So it all depends on the maturity of the center of excellence. This is how you can extend and have your enterprise follow this Power Platform journey. DLP policy change request. So if there is a DLP policy and anybody wants to request a change, so this app helps them to raise that request. This is a view of the environment request app. So you can go in and then log in. You provide your business justification of having your environment. It could be from the various departments of the enterprise that this request could come, or it could be from the individual users as well. Like as simple as that. If it's a very simple organization and a mailroom employee wants to create a basic app, for them to create some reminders as soon as the mailing job is done, then maybe that person would log in and provide the justification on how much manual effort can be avoided, and how it can help reduce the workload of the mailroom employee, and how much it could add business value to it. Like, yes, everything will be tagged to the revenue and the dollar bills, right? So if that person gives that business justification and the value add, that helps them decide whether that person would need a secured environment, a separate environment, or excuse me, that person could use an existing environment and go on and create create stuff. So as part of your approval process in that flow, you could automate these information. You have as part of the toolkit, you have this app, and you could extend and modify this flow just in case if your enterprise needs that. Your core components, what are the other components is that there is a welcome email wherein you can bundle it goes with an email, but you could also bundle your basic standards that the person needs to know and the list of champions within your organization for them to know the contact list. So these are all the customization that you could do with this basic flow that comes in place. The capacity alerts is the other place, other flow, which keeps on monitoring the capacity, and as soon as the consumption goes overboard the threshold that you have set, then it automatically creates an alert. And app catalog request access, we have already seen that enough. So this is the app catalog app. So just in case you wanted to establish a medium wherein anyone will be aware of all the training activities that's happening in your in your organization, and they would want to take it by themselves, then this is one such place. They can go and go ahead and take it by themselves. Self-service medium. Governance components is the next set of it. Compliance processes, inactivity processes, Microsoft Teams governance, cleanup for orphan resources, app quarantine processes. We have quickly seen about all of this before, so let me quickly take you through as we have very less time. The Developer Compliance Center is a place wherein you go in, then you will be able to see all your apps with the dot that is in place, and this dot will help you identify the health of each of this app. Just in case if the process, whatever the process that's been set and it's not being catered to, then you see a red. If it's amber, it's a warning kind of. If it's green, then it's all in place. All the compliance is in place. So accordingly, you might be able to take the decisions, and you can either delete or you can email users and accordingly take it forward. This is like when you click on the one of the app, you would be able to take certain actions in terms of compliance. So these are the compliance flows that helps you build that information, helps to build that information for the admin. There are 4 flows in place, and the business process flows. The details of each of the business process flows is given here. These are the approval flows that are in place. Nurture components comes the other set with the CoE toolkit. So Video Hub admin, it doesn't give any automated videos, but rather this Video Hub admin is the app wherein you can go and key in your video mediums, whatever you have. So if you have an internal wiki store wherein you have your streams, videos, and all that, you would be able to upload all of those videos into the streams, and then you would be able to give that link over here. You can link it over there, and the Video Hub is the place wherein the makers log in, and then they will be able to access all those videos in place. These details is configurable through the, if you remember the environment variable app that we discussed before, you can log into that and then you can change this link later as well after you install your CoE toolkit. Maker assessment admin and maker assessment. So maker assessment admin is a place wherein you can go ahead and assess the makers who are in place. And the template catalog, maker assessment is all the newbies, you would be able to do the assessment on those makers. Template catalog is a place wherein you can upload all the templates that could be used. It could be your theming templates, all of that the user base could use. Training in a day management is a place wherein you would go ahead and you just create all the training in a day events, and the registration is the app wherein the makers go ahead and register their interest for the trainings in place. The flows are the ones that that just sends a reminder for their registration confirmation feedback. Once it's done, it sends a feedback reminder. And for this feedback also, there is a form, automated form that's in place. That's a link. So you can go ahead and create your own form. You have a basic form that's been provided in the toolkit, but you can customize it, and you can add few more whatever feedback that you would want to record. You can add them, and then you can customize that form, and you can give that link, or you can give a brand new link. You can create your own forms, and then you can give that link in its place. There are certain reminders that's been sent as part of this, though you have that flows as well. Theming components. Theming components, as I already said, these are the branding theme that you would want your internal community to use. So as soon as they log in, they would be able to see all the themes that are in place. Like if it's a contoso they would want to use, then they can just use that, and then they would be able to as soon as they select that, they would be able to see how you see in the theme preview. They would be able to build the app in similar manner. If at all you would want to have a theme for every business unit, you would also be able to create that one. So the theme gallery, this is how for the maker it will appear, and this is how it will appear for the admins. So theme editor is a place wherein the admins or your center of excellence guys can go in and create the themes. And this is a place, the theme gallery is the place wherein makers can go in and start utilizing the themes into their apps. Innovation backlog components is a place wherein is an app wherein anyone goes in, and then they go ahead and which is going they can go in and given their idea with the with the value that it provides to the business, return on investment, which is the dollar bill that it can add, and what are the pain points that it solves, that the idea will solve. So depending on the likes and the feedbacks, the board, if you have an authority board, can take a decision, or just your center of excellence with some business users. If it's a small to medium scale organization, they can go ahead and make the decision with a few set of users in place. These are the limitations that comes in with the CoE toolkit. There are long-running flows, so that you had to be aware of. And Dataverse for Teams, it's getting deprecated, and you have the list of all of the limitations here. You could take a screenshot, and it's also available in our CoE Starter Kit setup site, which has been established by Microsoft. And you could also file a bug against the CoE toolkit, and the link is being provided here. And with this, I say thank you, but before doing that, there is no one size shirt that fits all organization. And I wish all of you have a great journey with Power Platform and have fun with establishing this center of excellence within your enterprise. Thank you.